Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. We talk about first-round draft targets all the time here on the channel. You talk about where you take at 15 and 16 and 19, Chris Olave and Treylon Burks and, George Karlaftis, all the Devin Lloyd, all these first-round targets. Today, we're going to get into some lesser-known draft targets, some guys you might see go off the board in round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6. That way, my job, of course, is to educate, and so I want to teach you who you can look to see on draft night, taken in later rounds, and go, oh, wait, Thomas talked about this guy. I really am glad Philadelphia drafted this guy, or, oh, wow, I wish Thomas would have talked more about this guy, or I wish the Eagles would have drafted this guy. So we're going to jump into, again, some lesser-known draft targets here in today's video. Drop a like down below if you guys have a sleeper target. If you have somebody that in mind who's a sleeper in the later rounds that maybe pops up in today's video, or that you really want Philadelphia to draft, give this video a thumbs up. Let us get over 1,000 likes on today's video. I start with our first player, and that is Chad Muma, the linebacker out of Wyoming. Now, I know you've heard of Chad Muma, but maybe you don't know specifics about kind of where he's at, where he might go in the draft, and how good he potentially could be. I love him. I think he's fantastic. I think if Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean didn't exist, then Chad Muma should be at the top of the Eagles draft board, because there are those first-round linebackers, then there's a gap, and then there's Chad Muma. Now, is he really much worse than Lloyd and Dean? That's debatable. Obviously, those guys played at much higher levels and better conferences, because obviously Muma played in Wyoming, but he's still 6'2". He's still 242 pounds. He's a former DB, great speed, good cover skills, can fill the hole. I mean, this is very clearly a starting caliber, ready to go linebacker. And you see it happen all the time in the NFL, where a linebacker comes from a smaller school and still plays very, very well at the NFL level. This is a great pick if the Eagles miss out on Lloyd, or they miss out on Dean or Christian Harris in round 2, right? Again, that's the point of today's video. If you miss out on those first-round guys, those guys you really, really want, who are some later-round guys, some sleepers that you potentially could go ahead and grab and fill positions of need, because much like the linebacker spot, we all know they need another linebacker. We love the additions that they had. The White, and then obviously going to be healthy on the other side. Sean Bradley maybe can actually start at some point. You never know here, but Chad Muma is a really good example of a player who won't be going in round 1, probably won't go in round 2, but if the Eagles needed a linebacker by round 3, you could go ahead and grab him and feel very confident about that pick. I'll be an ad break. If pin comment down below, how much do you guys enjoy the draft? Scale 1 to 10. How much do you enjoy the NFL draft? Give me your scale. I'm like at 100, but I want to see what you guys think down below in the comment section. All right, next player, much like in the mold of Chad Muma, is a player who, if you miss out on a wide receiver in round 1, you might be able to get this guy in round 2 or 3. It's George Pickens out of UGA. Now, I think you've probably heard of George Pickens as well, but the details are very interesting. So Pickens was supposed to be the wide receiver at UGA, like one of the best wide receivers in recent Georgia history. The problem is he's barely been on the football field. A ton of injuries, including a torn ACL in the spring of 2021. Now, he got back on the field. Saw him play in the national championship game, made a big deep catch, but he never really played up to his actual full potential. Like, his career highlights and career stats are very kind of minuscule, because, again, he only played 3 years, and during those 3 years, he really wasn't that healthy. But this is a deep threat, over the top, big target, can go up and make the catch, everything you want in a wide receiver. And even if Philadelphia does take a wide receiver in round 1, I still am in on going after George Pickens in round 2 or 3, just to add another receiving option on the outside. You can never have enough weapons for Jalen Hurts, and I think Pickens is one of those guys who, yes, he has an injury, so you don't touch him in round 1, but had he been healthy his entire career, this is a first-round player, hence why he makes it onto our sleeper list. I would love the idea of bringing in a guy like George Pickens. Make sure you guys are subscribed down below for more videos like this. Mailbag video happening later on this weekend. We're almost to 27,000 subs here on the channel. So if you guys like the channel, you like the content, you like the Eagles, only real Eagle fans allowed, go down below and hit that red button. Another wide receiver, because Philadelphia obviously needs wide receivers. Here's a very interesting guy, Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver out of Kentucky. Now, it's not official he's going to be in the NFL draft, though I assume he's going to go ahead and be in the draft. You can technically make, change your mind, technically, at this point, even though he did attend the NFL Combine. If he does come out, he's fantastic. I mean, this is a guy who played in the SEC, and yet no one talked about him last year because it wasn't Kentucky. Now, no offense to Kentucky. They had a great season this past year, but, he's not at UGA or Bama, and so how much talk and coverage does he actually get? The numbers are insane, though. Look at this. 104 catches at Kentucky last year. 104, 1,334 yards, 7 touchdowns, 12.8 yards per carry, yards per catch. He also can run the football. Like, he also is kind of in the Deebo Samuel mold. That's what all the NFL draft scouts are saying. This is the next Deebo Samuel. If you can get him, grab him. He won't go in round 1, because you have Treylon Burks, and you have Drake London, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Chris Olave. Like, you have all these elite number 1 receivers, but doesn't mean a round 2 or round 3 guy can't be just as good. And I think a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia, because, again, he's in the mold of Deebo. And Deebo, it was Jalen Ramsey that said on some talk show the other day he thinks Deebo Samuel's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL right now, just due to the fact he can do everything. Here maybe be your next one in the Kentucky wide receiver if he comes out into the draft. How about this? A little quick fun question. Who's the best later round pick in Eagles history? Do you have one? Like, I was thinking about this. I said, we're talking about later round picks and guys who are sleepers, second, third, fourth, fifth round. Who's the best late round pick in Eagles history? Give me your thoughts down below in the comment section right now. Here are the ones that I could come up with. There's some good ones, right? Trent Cole. Yeah, you talk about the Hunter, fifth overall or fifth round draft pick. Brian Westbrook, my favorite player as a kid, drafted in the third round. Probably the best one overall is Jason Kelce. I mean, Kelce was a sixth rounder. You're talking about a future Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer, the best center in the National Football League for the past couple of seasons, sixth rounder. Brent Celek, obviously the former star tight end, won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia in 2017, and then he retired. Fifth round draft pick, Jalen Mills. Forget he started in that Super Bowl. He was a seventh round guy. I remember talking about him after the NFL draft here on the channel and being like, yeah, can he actually get on the football field? Can he play? He hasn't really stayed consistent, move over to New England, but still a seventh rounder and a starter. There are some steals out there in Philadelphia. Obviously, you see here in the past has been able to find them from time to time. All right, we'll get into number 4 on my list. We'll go to the offensive line in just 1 second. First, the official Eagle draft hats are available right now on sale, and for you guys to go ahead and pop onto your heads and rep for the remainder of draft season, and of course after as well. Chatsports.com/Eagles hat is the link that you need. These are the official draft hats that the Eagle players will wear across the stage coming up in less than a month on April 28th for round 1 of the NFL draft. Pick up yours. Comes in snapback, comes in trucker hat, comes in the normal the baseball cap, any style that you want. Flat bill. Chatsports.com/Eagles hat is the link that you need. It'll be down below in the description box. All right, next player on our list here. We mentioned him briefly in a past video about a month ago. Alec Lindstrom, the guard out of Boston College. Now, again, they talk about maybe taking an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds. No need. I think you can wait till rounds 3 or 4 and get a guy like Lindstrom, who was a 3-year starter at BC and played both guard and center. That's what you want right now. I mean, you technically are set on the offensive line. The offensive line in Philadelphia is top 5 as it stands. But there are some draft experts who are concerned that, Jason Kelce's going to retire. What do you do at center? I have very clearly said you have obviously backups at the guard spot. You move Landon Dickerson back to his natural position. No worries. But if you wanted depth there, if you wanted a guy who could come in, barring injury, Lindstrom makes a ton of sense. And he's not going to go that high. He's going to be a 3rd round draft pick, maybe a 4th round draft pick. He, to me, is one of the offensive lineman steals later on in the draft. And he makes, again, a ton of sense. And I would love to bring him over to Philadelphia. All right, final player on our list here. Again, you only do 5. I wish I could do more, but we can only get into 5 sleeper picks right here. How about Nick Cross, the safety out of Maryland? Philadelphia needs a safety. I think they're going to take a safety at some point in this draft. You talk about Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. You talk about Jalen Petrie out of Baylor, which, shout out to Baylor, repping the Bear shirt right now. Both of them would be great, but they're round 1 and round 2 guys, right? Nick Cross is a round 3 or 4 guy, but still, I think, very much ready to go in terms of a safety in the NFL. He's long. He's muscular. He's incredibly fast. Had a very fast time at the 40 at the NFL Combine. I think he could beef up a little bit more. He's a little bit underweight. But overall, I think in the future, he'd be a starting defensive back for a team like Philadelphia, who, again, we talked about this. They don't need a safety. You don't have to get a safety if you believe in Kayvon Wallace. But I do think they're going to add some competition there because you have Anthony Harris as your one true starter, and you need somebody else on the outside. And so a guy like Nick Cross makes a lot of sense. But again, when you start going through all of these, later round draft picks, Mel Kiper was right the other day. I was watching him on ESPN. He said, it's one of the deepest drafts we've seen in a very long time. Just because you don't get your one position of need in the first round does not mean you can't get him in round 2. If you missed out on wide receiver, round 2, round 3, round 4, there's like 10 of them. You missed out on defensive end, there's multiple of them. You need offensive lineman, you need a safety, a corner. There are a ton of draft picks here in the upcoming draft, and I am just in love with all the players on this list and some of the other ones. I think Philadelphia has a chance to really improve their roster. We'll end on this. You have a favorite player from my list? Talked about Muma, talked about Pickens, Wan'Dale Robinson if he comes out, Alec Lindstrom, the guard from BC, and Nick Cross, the safety out of Maryland. Do you have a favorite of the ones that I listed? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Make sure you guys like the video. We're trying to get over 1,000 likes on today's video. If you guys like the content, think you guys do, just go down below. It takes like 4 seconds. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps us out and shows your love for the channel. And of course, be subscribed. We do a mailbag video, I think tomorrow, right? I'm going to go ahead and pull questions and answer as many as I can coming up here tomorrow. So if you want to get a question, go down below and subscribe and use the hashtag Eagles and ask away. All right, ultimate today on our Eagles sleeper video. More like this, plenty more like this coming up the next couple of days and weeks. For Eagles now, Thomas Mott signing off to the rest of your day.